Stellantis new technology on inverters, BYD and Tesla EV battery recycling in the USA, Volvo EX90 EV delayed, BMW simulated manual transmission, Lotus losing money, Volkswagen autonomous mobility in Munich. I'm Paul Callan and welcome to this week's MotorZen News. Stellantis is coming up with new technology around the charging of electric vehicles. Traditionally, or normal electric vehicles require AC charging converted to DC for the battery, which the inverter then converts back to AC for the motor. This requires you to have a quite substantial, bulky charger inverter in the vehicle. Well, what Stellantis are saying is that they're going to be able to integrate all of that into the battery module. So therefore reducing weight and reducing space in the vehicle. Seems like quite revolutionary technology if they can manage it, but they reckon they're going to have this in production vehicles by 2030. So again, another example of the constant evolution that's taking place in the electric area. Staying with electric, BYD, they're saying poses the biggest threat to Tesla in terms of market position. BYD are now the biggest seller of electric vehicles in China. They're number one EV seller in China. Tesla are pushing on in Europe with their new plant in Germany, or attempting to get planning permission for their new plant in Germany. They currently have their plant in Berlin, which produces 5,000 vehicles a week. They want to expand the size of that plant to get the production up to 10,000 vehicles per week. Interesting bedfellows we see here in Ireland with the BYD product. This week I just noticed some BYD product is coming into Ireland via Motor Distributors Limited, and this week I just passed one of Motor Distributor Limited's Mercedes dealerships, and on that dealership you have BYD product. Strange bedfellows, but again showing you the type of foothold that the Chinese product is starting to get in markets around the world. EV battery recycling. This is, again, each week we feature stories that seem to demonstrate how reusing is becoming such a part of industry. It's a part of building businesses, a part of doing business is the capacity to recycle and reuse. And in America, the Inflation Reduction Act means that if you recycle a battery in America, you're entitled to a subsidy. So therefore, this is driving a lot of companies to push hard to get their batteries recycled in America and obtain that subsidy. China currently dominates the world in terms of recycling batteries, but I think America is putting the push on. The idea is that by 2040, 40% of EV batteries will be recycled. That's what they're aiming for. So this push for recycling becoming bigger and bigger and bigger, and America wanting to get a big part of that action as well. Again, staying with the complexities of building new vehicles, Volvo were supposed to launch their EX90 EV. Well, the word is it's been delayed for 5 to 6 months because they're running into problems with complexities to do with their software. They're having trouble getting the LiDAR to integrate on the systems, and they're saying it's complexities to do with their software codings creating the problem. So again, in one way the vehicles are simplified in that they're fully electric, but with all the technology going on the vehicles, it's now proving that this is proving problems, and it's very unusual to see a brand delay a launch because of a technical issue, but that clearly seems to be what's going on here, and it's not old school mechanical issues, it's new school electronic software issues. BMW is considering simulated gearboxes. Question is, how does a car transmit what it is doing? Traditionally, we had sound, we had feel from the engine, we had gear lever position as was giving us information, giving us data as to what's going on. Well, BMW high performance EVs are going to now possibly have simulated transmissions. So they're going to produce simulated sound, simulated feel, simulated gear shifter. And now an interesting statement that has come from Frank Valmel, from a boss at BMW. He says the driver doesn't have time to look at the speedometer, and that's, at that point, you're saying, right, I need other things to tell me what's going on. And I have made this point right along that a transmission and conventional transmission vehicle gives you enormous amounts of data points. And on an electric vehicle, those data points are gone. And it's interesting now that the performance division, M Sport and BMW, are now saying we've got a problem, or we've got to get more information to the driver. Now they're saying this is going to be simulated, so how real it's going to be, or is it just going to be sounds and vibrations that are not relevant? That's not going to be much help. But they are debating as to how they get around this situation of that element of data not being fed to the driver. Lotus, things are not looking too good at Lotus, even though they launched their new Emira, which it seems to be getting good reports everywhere. They only sold 576 cars in 2022. In 2021, they sold 1,566. But to be fair, the Elise, the Siege and the Evora were all dropped in 2021. Last year, they had a loss of 145 million. In 2021, they had a loss of 86 million. Now, to be fair, their big shareholder is Geely, so the pockets are deep. But whether the pockets are going to be deep enough to keep sustaining these losses remain to be seen. They think that possibly 200 jobs could go with Lotus as a result of the current situation. Interesting, last week we spoke about BMW in Ireland, that the Mini would go agency sales from the end of this year. No longer sold via the dealer network. Some people I met out and about on the road were asking me about this agency model and what's it all about, and is it really been taken seriously by the manufacturers? And coincidentally, Car Dealer magazine in the UK did a quick survey of all the car manufacturers that sell vehicles in the UK, and of that survey, 18% of them said yes, they were going to go with the agency model. 8% said no, 6% said no comment, and 15% said no response. So I think you could take it that 8% saying no obviously is fairly solid, 6% and 15% no response, no comment, possibly they're looking at it as well. 18% saying yes, well that's fairly clear what's going on there. I think a lot of them are hanging back to watch Mercedes. Mercedes have gone with the agency model in the UK market. It isn't proving successful right now, and I think a lot of other manufacturers are just standing back watching that. Volkswagen Mobility and Transport Services. This division within Volkswagen are starting trials in Munich in the next couple of weeks with an AD buzz, an autonomous driving buzz. So we've been reporting on autonomous driving happening in China and happening in America. Haven't really been reporting much about it in Europe. Well, it's happening with Volkswagen in Munich in the next couple of weeks. They're going to use this buzz to carry decision makers, people from politics, people from public authorities, people from business, people from media. They're going to take them for journeys around Munich in this driverless vehicle, and they're going to see what feedback they're getting from that. They're also rolling this out in Texas at the same time, in Austin, Texas at the same time. This idea is for ride sharing and transport services. It's not for general public. It's for vehicles that are going to be used in urban centres as virtually taxis, and also then doing deliveries and drop-offs in urban centres. That's what they're saying. But these vehicles are ready for production, so it looks like that really what Volkswagen are saying is, can we get approval to put these vehicles into service? And that's so really, when you look at this autonomous stuff, sometimes we think it's not going to happen, or it's not going to work, or it's a long way away. It's very, very close, and it's happening in Munich in the next couple of weeks, and possibly then going to be rolled out after that once the authorities are happy with it. That's it for this week. Thanks for watching. Usual thing, like, comment and subscribe. Any little bit of support we can get, it all is much appreciated, and our numbers are creeping up there, especially on LinkedIn, so we appreciate that, and keep tuning in. Thanks. See you next week.